If you consider that Russia is the successor to the Soviet Union, it is quite obvious that you will understand that in Ukraine, Russia is fighting against Soviet military equipment. It is true that Western countries provide Ukraine with multiple weapons, but if you look closer, you will see they are all for defensive and rescue purposes. In fact, 90% of Ukraine's military weapons were old Soviet and modified Soviet equipment before the war, and Ukraine fought the main war with these Soviet weapons. Similarly, most of Russia's modern and old stock is also based on Soviet military equipment, so both countries are utilizing the same Soviet origin technology during the Ukrainian-Russian war. In other words, the war is taking place on two fronts. The first is the economic front, fought by Russia and the Western Bloc. Meanwhile, the military equipment of both sides is Soviet-made. In addition, we do not have a direct comparison between Russian and NATO weapons since the US and Germany, two major NATO powers, do not want to provide offensive weapons, such as tanks and helicopters, to Ukraine, and some tanks and fighter jets that Ukraine obtained from Poland and some Baltic states were also Soviet-made. Yes, the US and other Western allies have been very supportive of Ukraine economically, as well as providing HIMARS, Patriots, drones and defensive and offensive weapons, all of which are very effective in war zones. However, these weapons are very limited in number, and are less likely to make any major changes since the Ukrainian military is still primarily based on Soviet technology. In conclusion, we can say that Russia is losing a lot of its weapons and its military leadership has also been poor. However, we cannot say Russian weapons are ineffective because Ukraine has sunk the Russian battleship Moskva with a missile made by the Soviet Union, so that proves the effectiveness of Soviet and later Russian-made military technology. Therefore, we cannot conclude the Russian war machine is broken until we see a direct comparison between NATO and Russian military hardware.